I invite Detective Trevor Alsup and the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Force Investigation Team to come forward at this time.
The Force Investigation Team is a very unique squad within the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. For most lieutenants, they will have 4 or 5 sergeants who then have subordinates underneath them. But for us, we're just 5 detectives, a civilian, a sergeant, and a lieutenant. We have been described as misfit detectives who are overconfident, underqualified, sarcastic, and inappropriate. In reality, we're just a squad of children that are trapped in adults' bodies. Imagine being locked in a bedroom all day with 7 of your siblings, and that's our office. And until we recently moved buildings, it resembled a kindergarten classroom. Because of the people that make up this squad, getting a new sergeant or lieutenant is a very stressful time for us. 2.5 years ago, we found out we were getting a new lieutenant, and it was some guy named Lloyd. Most of us had heard the name, but none of us knew him. We were a little apprehensive, but we were assured that Eric was going to fit in with us. And in retrospect, Eric not only fit in, but became one of us. In a short amount of time, we learned a lot about Eric. We learned that Eric was in dope, IAB, dope, major violators, dope, and a host of other assignments. And I cannot forget to mention that he was in dope. Within days, we also learned that, as you have heard, idiot was, among other things, a term of affection from him. It did not take long to figure out that Eric was a perfect lieutenant for us. We learned a lot from Eric. Much to our surprise, he taught us that newspapers are actually still printed and still delivered. Not long after he came to fit, we all went to breakfast as a squad. And as you've also heard today, by Eric's account, he was not a morning person. We sat down for breakfast, and Eric seemed a little bit grumpier than normal. So we'd asked him what was wrong, and his response that his paper wasn't delivered that morning. A couple seconds later, he pulls his phone out of his pocket, starts dialing a number, and this was the entire conversation. "This is Lloyd. My paper wasn't delivered this morning." There was a short pause, and the response from Eric was, "Yes, I still want the damn thing." And the phone hung up. There was never a mention of an address, an account number, or anything else. He must be one of the 5 subscribers, and they knew exactly where to take that paper. Because that night I texted him to make sure that he got his paper, and he said that it was delivered. For the most part, Eric was very soft-spoken. However, he did not have an inside voice, and he did not know how to filter his thoughts. Going to lunch with him was always an adventure. He routinely made comments about people, not realizing that he was speaking loud enough for not only that person to hear him, but the people in the kitchen. He also liked to refer to his squad as the 5 misfit detectives and a tiny lesbian. Eric also taught us that people still use telephones, not cell phones, but the real ones that you plug into a wall. When he first came to fit, his office was down the hall from us, and he would routinely call us to ask us questions. After we moved, his office was attached to our squad bay. One morning I came in and I hear Eric dialing a number on his phone, and a couple seconds later I hear the desk phone for another detective ringing. And for the next 5 minutes I sat in between those two's conversation, even though they were only 30 feet apart. As would be expected in our squad, for the next 2 weeks I called him every morning just to tell him good morning. My cubicle is the closest to his office. The phone would slam down and I would hear the word idiot as he hung up on me. Even though Eric was only a few years older than most of us, we like to constantly tease him about being the old man. We joke that his birth certificate was etched in stone, that he once counseled Jesus for advice in person, and that he had been on the department so long he had a negative P number. And we affectionately gave him the nickname of Pop Pop. Eric was one of the greatest leaders I've ever worked for. He led by example, he was a perfectionist, and he demanded the best out of us. Eric didn't raise his voice, except for the newspaper incident, because he didn't have to. You wanted to do your best for him because that's what he gave you. Fit is a demanding job. We're always on call. Our call-outs are long. We're always dealing with time constraints, and rightfully so, our investigations are expected to be thorough. Eric made work fun, and as long as he got Chick-fil-A, he was happy. Our job is a critical one for so many reasons, but Eric was always in charge and never took himself too seriously. He was always calm and never got spun up. For the IPOF, Eric and Mindy were like two superheroes. They worked tirelessly to make sure that officers and their families were provided comfort in the most tragic of times. They were the perfect pair to accomplish such a difficult task. In a time of need, Eric did not call to see what you needed. He showed up at your door and things got done. Unfortunately, not long ago, Eric showed up at my door, and I will forever be grateful to Eric and Mindy for being there in my time of need. To a fault, Eric gave everything of himself. I'm convinced that he had some super battery surgically implanted to keep going. That's the only explanation for how he juggled the duties of being the IPOF president, the FIT lieutenant, his family commitments, and a host of other activities and organizations he was a part of. I would like to close with two quotes. I have learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Eric, we may forget some of the many stupid things you said, but you touched too many lives for people to forget what you did, and you made us all feel better for knowing you. The second quote is, grief is the price we pay for love. Well, damn it, Eric, you were loved, because I haven't looked in the eyes of one person lately without seeing grief. On July 29th, Eric left us physically. And Pop Pop, we will miss your smile, laugh, leadership, and friendship, but you will never be forgotten. Rest easy, Lieutenant. We love you.